interesting point. I think he connects kind of all of the 2012 the Mayan issue in some sense. But anyway, there is a scene in there where he actually travels towards the end to this point which I brought up earlier, the Mayan place called Xibalba, and he kind of incorporates many of his previous lives as he enters this zone of the underworld together with I think it's his wife or something, but it's really visual and beautiful and kind of incorporates a lot of stuff that we've been talking about here today. So,
that's cool.
Yeah, check it out. The Fountain, awesome stuff.
Okay.
And by the way, another thing regarding the Earth. I mean, I've heard people referring to that we are, as a species in that sense, and even I guess our souls are tied to the Earth in a very special way, meaning that if all life is, or was have sprung from the Earth, so to speak, even the Earth is the originator of our soul in that sense, meaning that we actually are tied to the Earth, like you expressed earlier, that we actually, when we die, so to speak, we kind of go around and revolve around the Earth until it's time to go down again. What's your take on that? Do you think that is a kind of a possibility here?
Yeah, I think some of that is the case. One thing I like to mention is, one quality of the Earth is the quality of the heart. It has that true nourishing nature. And some things, when you go through subconscious and encounter it, you can give that up to the Earth to heal in almost like a motherly sense. It's not just, so many things are more literal than we tend to take it, and the mother quality of the Earth is definitely one of them. And it's not just a human mother kind of, human mothers maybe have some of that quality, but it's a more general sense. A lot of being able to get the feel for a planet or the sun or some of these broader entities, gods, etc., which are kind of hanging out on the astral plane. There's all kinds of entities all over the place we can contact with.
Yeah.
But again, that's the other side of where we were speaking earlier of tuning into a dog's language or something like that. But we also have to tune into Earth language or Sun language, and they're each different in their own place, in their own way. That's the nature of it. Where Earth is abundance and heart and giving and blossoming and growing and flowing and music and celebration and just great unconditional love. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And then the Sun is is the courage and the intellect and create just that flow of creative ideas and rejuvenation and pulse.
Yeah. Do you think that there's a lot of I don't know if we can call them that, but I guess new souls on our planet right now, or fresh souls or young souls?
Yeah. Yeah, so that goes back to partly like your other question, too. I see that some people like myself, I don't think I was born here.
Mm-hmm.
My existence, like I said, I feel my own ties to the Pleiadian realm, and in my ties to that realm, I was not a dense being like I am here. I was a much more cosmic entity without such form, more like, just light, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then you cruise out of there as part of your mission, I guess, or part of what you're calling, because every being from any realm will have some kind of driving force as part of their life.
Yeah, sure.
Flow.
Sure.
A purpose. And so then in your purpose, I've always been the kind of person to reach out. I reach out. I don't, that's just how I am. Again and again, I'll put myself out there and express, and it's something that, even at times I try to hold back in my life or watch out for, but I'm just, by nature, I just do that again and again, and I've come to accept that, and that's just a good thing, and that's part of where I say you got to kind of self-validate and just realize, yeah, that's how I am, and whatever people think, that's fine. I just am myself doing my thing, and that's all I can do,
Yeah, sure. I mean...
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just, so I guess that was kind of a backdrop to coming. So then, like myself, I think I would cruise into this place, come into the solar system through the sun somehow, and then cruise over to the planet that you can incarnate in and start hovering around. Then you go into the body, then you get really into that experience, and you keep going around and you keep going around. But then at some point you can kind of absorb the spirit of the place. Like, you don't have to live a life is this, a life is that, a life is this, a life is that, when you get just what the idea is. Yeah, okay, I have lived all these lives. I get that. I've lived every life. I've been every role. I feel what it's like from every perspective to live here and to get that. I think that's part of what you get coming to Earth, is that heart, or that sensitivity, or that it opens you up. Part of the place is that it, by nature, kind of pulls you open, makes you more open, because that's how life is here. But we feel pain. Life, is suffering for many because they resist that opening, and that opening is changed. That's why, the way of life, Tao, Lao Tzu, is change.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
you have to let it go.
Seems, we were talking a little bit about that in our email conversation regarding Pluto, I guess, the planet, and regarding, changes and how difficult it can be to cope with them. But in regards to Pluto, do you think that could have something to do with it, with the period that we're going through right now?
Well, yeah, it could, because, I spoke with Shab a lot about this recently in regards to my own chart. And there was, of course, Pluto moving through my chart, which caused kind of great change in my life, top to bottom, kind of like a cleansing experience. And, yeah, it is hard to allow huge changes, because we do kind of get fixed in the habits and patterns, and to get this sense of security, or this buffer from raw life, where we feel like we've got our own little zone set aside, and we don't have to always encounter life in its full edge, and I think Pluto, and I believe also there's greater cycles of Pluto which affect generations, like maybe a whole generation is under a certain Pluto influence for a while.
Yeah, sure.
Like that.
Yeah.
I can't say specifically on the details, but I definitely, after speaking with Shab about it and reflecting on my life, and I definitely sensed the Pluto energy, and part of that change is to cleanse and to also open up for new direction.
Sure.
It's like symbolically, I guess, the death of the old. The death of the old is also the birth of the new.
Sure.
And the new brings new life and new possibilities. And, I feel like in my own life, this is kind of something I think. I've lived in many different cities, for instance. And in each city, I kind of built up a life. I did a certain kind of thing, met a bunch of people. And then after a while, I moved to another city. Well, that's almost like another life. So my time in one city for a few years, well, that's like a past life.
Yeah.
Then my time in another city for 6 years, well, that's like a past life. And then you go, so almost you live little mini lives in this life as well. So it's not all so neatly chopped up as to just say, well, from when I'm born to this period is one life, and then I had another life from this time to this time. Well, there's also, even in any given incarnation in the body, we have many cycles and many periods that change and are different and bring different energies, and we can tune to that. We can see that beneath all lives and incarnations is this stream of continuity. And that's where our greater soul journeys lie. We have small little lessons in our daily lives, but we have these greater cycles, these longer term lessons that when we can get deeper into those cycles beneath it all, we can come to see what we've been working on in a grander sense, and then take that up consciously and move forward on it.
One thing that really came to mind when you were speaking about that death opens up for new life, so to speak, is regarding, of course, the celebrations they have in Mexico, for example, with the Day of the Dead. And I mean, this seems like if you're looking at it from a purely, I guess, Christian or other religious, more fundamental viewpoint, I mean, this could be considered something almost evil, I guess. But in a sense,